Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent, live from the Atzenhofer studio.
This is an interesting non-intro. Is it? Check Black Magic. It was an interesting non-intro because we didn't have any music playing, but I could hear music in the background.
No, I had the music on this morning.
But where's the control for that?
I turned it off already.
Oh, you
because
did?
We started the show.
Fantastic. You are so technologically savvy.
That's what happens.
Folks, the Wade and Carter weather is brought to you today, as it is every day, by the great folks at A.T. Dillon Feed. For over 50 years, a little gin that could, helping you and yours with your own little ranchito, whether it be gates, panels, round bale holders, feed, pesticides,
Square bales,
herbicides, barbecue sides, whatever you need, they've got it. 82 degrees already in South Texas, in Victoria, Texas, heading to a high today of 95. Now, that's the first time we've been in the 90s in a while. It looks like the rain is over until, of course, Saturday or Sunday.
And an extreme heat warning. When I do not recall extreme heat warnings ever being issued for 95 degrees.
No, you know why? Because Americans are soft.
Yep.
And they're really telling you, don't take your battery-operated PlayStation 5 control thing outside because it's just too hot for the electronics. That's what they're Americans no longer go outside and play with a ball. They sit inside and play with balls.
Scott Snow, Bobby Leister, Greg Garcia on the podium this morning. Good morning,
Did I make
everybody.
you grin?
Glad you're here. Who, me?
Yes.
No. I think Jackie Parsons probably could have solved the algae problem in the reflecting pool at the Washington Monument.
In like 5 minutes.
And what's funny is I don't even think of it so much as a problem. I've learned more than I ever wanted to know about the reflecting pool. The idea, the main problem in the pool was not the algae. Now, I've been there under Joe Biden when the reflecting pond I kept thinking this place just needs a lifeguard. It needs somebody that cares enough to go around and pick up
skim it a little bit.
Yeah, yes, sir. The hot dog wrappers and the plastic bottles that were floating in it.
You'd think the National Park Service would take care
You
of that.
would think that a park ranger would shoot somebody on sight for throwing a bottle into that
They do
pond.
in Yellowstone.
Absolutely. Throw them into Old Faithful,
Yeah.
let them get a facial.
Ranger Smith used to lock him up in Jellystone.
But the thing that struck me about it, and I've done more and more reading on it, people went nuts, right? Because President Trump just said, we're going to fix it. The biggest problem that the reflecting pool had was not the algae. It was not that it wasn't clean. The biggest problem that it had was that the 1920s era pool leaked. It leaked in numerous places.
You think that was a federal conservation
There's no doubt. And here's the deal.
project?
No doubt about it. And here's the deal. It's conserving a national monument. It'd be as if things were flaking off of the Washington Monument and you spent money to fix it. So Trump brings in people, typically a low bidder. Joe Biden, long established, this is a fact. Joe Biden had a contract offered to him for $300 million to totally scrape and redo the pond. Now, I have to give Joe Biden an attaboy here. I wouldn't have spent $300 million to repair that pond at that time. So Donald Trump gets it all done, all in, no more leaks, a new seal, a new coat, $14.2 million. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money when I'm paying $5 for gas and we can't afford groceries. Okay.
Well, you're not anymore.
And you weren't going to get that money anyway. But nobody points out, and none of you even know because it didn't make the news. How many of you, be honest, how many of you have ever heard
Show of hands.
that in 2012, under Barack Obama, the United States government spent over $34 million. You knew that?
I learned that this morning.
Yeah, from me. Fixing the pool. So they spent 2.5 times as much money in 2012 to put a Band-Aid on a problem that Donald Trump solved for $14 million.
Well,
Trump being crucified, Barack
But
Obama,
here's the problem, though, and
Tell
here's why he's getting crucified.
because he's Donald Trump.
No, partially because he can't help himself. Because he promised this would fix the algae and the gross green water, and it'd be the best pool ever,
It's gonna be the
and
best,
it'll be
cool.
the sparkling cleanest water that this country's ever seen.
You can
That's
bathe
the
in
problem.
it.
That's the problem when with Donald Trump is in this case overpromised, underdelivered. Because here we are 3 weeks later and the water's green again when he said that was not going to happen, that this was going to fix that problem.
Fair enough. And
So the monument, the pond is 479,616 gallons of water.
I heard it was
Yeah.
4.5 million gallons, but I could be wrong.
It's 4.5 million tons.
Okay, fair.
I don't know, something. I just Googled it. But it comes out to be he spent $29.19 per gallon to get it fixed. That's pretty cheap. And I'm thinking maybe we just needed to have Deerland Feed come over and sprinkle a little in there. And
Just give him a little time. It does make sense that DC is very humid. It's summer. That you've got a
Stagnant body of water.
huge petri dish. All they need
Yeah.
is a way to circulate that water. I honestly think that they need to install, no humor, like some skimmers and just have a way to circulate the water and just take that stuff right out.
Scott Tomko pool shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all it
Can you
takes.
see a guy walk along with a bucket? You know, of course, he'd need a
big bucket.
big bucket,
Right.
but maybe that's what you have to do is put chlorine in there and kill that stuff. Pump it in, liquid chlorine.
They just haven't had a South Texas pool
Well,
to deal with. That's
Here's the problem.
Absolutely.
The minute you put chlorine in it, make that water clear, everybody in DC is using it as a swimming pool.
Right. And they should be arrested for trespassing. That's a
No,
whole
I
different issue.
I agree.
It's
Or-
an insurrection.
Or
It's
a
an
wading
attack
pool.
on democracy.
Swimming pool be a wading pool. But
There you go.
that's the problem with this one. He promised to fix the green water and he didn't fix the green water, and that's why people are mad. I don't think they're mad at the 14 million because it's apparent that we spend that money fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every administration has spent it at some point, except Biden decided not to spend 300 plus million on
he
it. Which
didn't make any decisions.
seems somebody did.
Barack said, don't spend that money because it'll draw attention to the fact that I wasted $34 million.
But here's the thing. If Trump wouldn't have said a word about it, nobody would even have noticed
right.
that $14 million was being spent
No.
on the pond. They would have drained it. It would have been repaired and it would have been done.
I was just there in April and there was a ton of different projects going on, updating and repairing and fixing parks, cleaning and repairing and maintaining the monuments and things that are going on. Torrin Bell says there's never been a president micromanaged like Trump is, which is followed by Tammy Keeling saying, problem is no bid contracts.
Was it a no bid contract?
I don't know that to be the case. People say that Trump threw that bone to one of his friends. I don't know how many friends Trump has in the pool business in Oklahoma. I don't. I know that that's who did the work. So it's just very interesting to me that, Monica Joe's solid point. Dump a bunch of those little fishes they put in
Yeah,
the
I
aquarium.
was just going to say
Suckerfish.
maybe it becomes a koi pond, right?
Yeah.
Like
Or a
Yeah,
bunch
you
of
could put those little
suckerfish.
orange goldfish in
Yeah.
there and they will, of course, they'd all float up in the winter, but what do we care?
well, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Right, take them out and turn them into sushi
The fact
come November.
is, in a world where people now, I'm surprised that nobody is up. Did you know that this morning the New York Knicks are having
No
a
bid
parade?
contracts, but you don't have a problem with how many hundreds of millions being siphoned off by Somali immigrants
That's right.
Yeah.
in graft and corruption.
Well, 14 million sounds like a lot better bid than 30 million.
It sure does. And nobody. Here's the point.
14 million in today's dollars that don't go as far as 34 million did under Barack Obama, and apparently didn't fix the problem.
Google up Barack Obama and the reflecting pool and see how many bids were extended for Barack Obama's $34 million failure. By the way, did you know that this morning the New York Knicks are having a parade through parts of downtown New York City,
Yeah.
and there are 10,000 NYPD officers on
Working it,
parade
yeah.
duty? 10,000 people
It's a lot of overtime.
on parade duty. Is anybody on the left clamoring? But there's homeless people in New York and they're spending X number $100 million on a parade.
Where are the defund police people now?
Now we've been deemed the kings of false equivalencies by the ignorant, arrogant left. There you go. Kings of false equivalencies.
Yep.
I challenge anybody, 361, what's the number? 894-4020. Call.
Right there on the screen.
Explain to us how we are incorrect. I would love to have the debate.
Well, because I know I was claiming because, yeah, that. Man, never mind. It's
Yeah,
worth the
exactly.
time.
So
Exactly.
So that 10,000 is about 1/3 of the police force on duty.
Yeah,
for
a
this
third of their
parade.
police force is on duty but that's okay because Zoran Mamdani. It took me years to get Mamdani, and I've only known about the guy for about 4 months. People now saying that the guy could be, would be a great president. Don't flatter yourself. Don't flatter yourself.
I don't think he can be. He was foreign born.
Yeah. No, he can't. No, of course not. But people are saying he would be the right guy to challenge the whole situation.
You were going to say something there, Mr.
Cody, you
So-
have some
Commander?
data?
So I have not been able to find an entire list for Obama.
Well, I'm sure there was a full bid process. I'm sure it went probably to Congress. People probably voted upon it.
But they did say, the New York Times said that it was originally bid out at a couple million, and that before it was all said and done, there were allegations of extreme profit for the person who did the final bid.
For Donald Trump.
No, under Obama.
Oh, but nobody knew about that. And nobody cared about that because that was Barack Obama, America's favorite president.
This does get fixed with a $1 bottle of green food coloring.
Solid point. Patrick Strauss says it's sad that New York needs them on duty for a victory parade. What I made a nice post yesterday, if I say so myself, on Facebook, just under my own name, that you can't convince me that the NBA is anything more than black volleyball, because at the end of the day, there's a bunch of guys on NBA teams that could not have played in the league back in the 80s and 90s. There's nobody in the league that could stop Michael Jordan from scoring 65 points a game. There's no explanation. You can give me no explanation why the San Antonio Spurs stumble around and don't just simply stand with respect during the national anthem, because they don't. They wander around. Now, I will say that as far as I recognized in the last game, all of the Spurs were at least standing during the national anthem. But you would think that a bunch of guys that couldn't tie their shoes on their own, in general, in stereotype, couldn't do anything to make, none of them could make anywhere near the money they make being the last guy on an NBA bench that they make if it wasn't for the United States of America. And yet asking them to stand still and quiet for 2 minutes and 30 seconds is just asking too much. It's an embarrassment to San Antonio. It's an embarrassment to the history of the Spurs. It's embarrassment to the good stewards and the good citizens that the Spurs had the reputation of being And it's another reason that I no longer watch the NBA. When you tune in with fresh eyes after not being a fan for a decade, and you realize that these people are making a mockery of our country, they simply stand around, they were talking to each other. Nobody, very few, had their hand over their heart, just standing with respect. And it all goes back to Greg Popovich being such a flaming liberal idiot that he was just so anti-Trump that it's carried over. And the new coach, so there's 2 points I'd love to make about this. The new coach should say, this is my team now. We represent a city that's full of active duty military personnel and retired military people, and we're in Texas. You will stand. You, at the very least, will stand with your hands at your side. And that's the way we're going to be for that 2 minutes and 30 seconds. At the very least, he should do that. Our national anthem is not a place for your freedom of speech. Stand with respect. Make your points later. The second thing I'll give you is, why didn't anybody associated with the New York Knicks, why didn't anybody associated with them, this OG guy who's such a star, why didn't he say, let's see, impromptu championship speech? This championship's for the people of New York. Along the way, we've been blessed to pick up many new fans. We welcome you. Knicks fans don't riot. They don't loot. They don't burn things in the streets. They don't vandalize public property. Be a good Knicks fan. Enjoy this victory. It's been a long time coming. God bless you. God bless the Knicks, and God bless the United States of America. If just one Knicks player would have said that, you wouldn't have the debauchery, ignorance, and stupidity that has plagued championships. It's just, but there's no.
Did they riot in New York after the Yankees won? I don't think so.
No. Yankees fan baseball is a much more cerebral sport. It invites a much more educated fan base. The reason that people say baseball is too slow of a game is because the average American is stupid. They don't have the mind bandwidth to follow the great game of baseball. So we have to speed it up, and we have to put a clock on it. And it's dumb. George Carlin was right.
That was all for TV.
Absolutely. Which was all about money, which is all about inviting more people to watch the games on TV. So you're trying to find a way to dumb the game down to make it more palatable to the
trying to find a way to pay the players
stupid.
what you're paying them. That's what
to
it
the
boils down to.
stupid. The stupid are the people that drive the market. But the fact that the Spurs have absolutely lost me because they're classless. Sorry. They lack leadership on the floor. They're hully-gully, they're discombobulated, and they don't play basketball. They play 1985 NBA All-Star exhibition basketball. That's what they play. They go back and forth, and everybody's shooting threes. They're all giving high fives to the crowd. And then in the last 2 minutes, they try to play basketball, and the Spurs just aren't mature enough to do it. And Greg Popovich, you're right, Lisa Poole, became an embarrassment. Yeah, he was an embarrassment.
I would say the Spurs played basketball for about 58 minutes a game in this championship series and failed to play it in the final 2 minutes.
That's quite possible, which again is a function of
how
lack of
how else do you
leadership.
blow a 29-point lead?
Yeah, to the Knicks. Come on. Yeah, no, it's terrible.
A one-and-done champion in the NBA this year, the Knicks.
Andrew Alvarez says, I feel like this whole year is going to be a year of the past champions. That means our year for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Did the Yankees come back and win the World Series this year? But have they got 29 World Series?
Something like that, yeah.
It's incredible. Should we take a break?
Yeah, we should.
Take a quick one.
Where do you want to start? The chopping block? Get
Why
into the
not?
day? Get all your meats for your grilling's needs this weekend.
Oh, man, it's
Dad's
fantastic.
needs meats.
Dads needs meats. Put their meat on the seat. Veracruz Restaurant today is Post Caldo Wednesday, Thursday. If you show up at noon, you can see Ash and me. We'll be there. We're going to be there today at noon. Don't be late. If you're coming, don't be late. David Ballard said the Spurs owner should hold players accountable.
It's Peter Holt.
Their owner, by the way, is Peter Holt. He's a decorated veteran. How does he allow that on his team? Why doesn't he walk in and say, we're not going to do that, boys? Let's don't do that. I'm going to fine you. If you're that committed, if you flinch, it costs you $100,000.
Well, but I'll say this, and we're
We're in the middle
stomping
of a break.
all
Go
over a
ahead.
break, but he doesn't get involved in any of the basketball stuff.
However, it's not basketball stuff. It's administrative stuff. And it just reflected upon him. If it reflected upon me and my name was on your check, you would stand with respect. USA Foundation Repair, 578 Home. When we pack up and move Schrader Hall to Victoria, Texas, we're going to hire USA Foundation to come in and shim that beautiful, historic,
That would be a heck of a Wade Carter studio.
important landmark. We're going to do that with USA Foundation Repair. We may employ Allen's Wrecker Service to help us move parts of that building. That building can be cut up. It can be moved. It can be reassembled, and it should happen. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Wentz Services, turnkey generator service. When we move said dance hall to Victoria, we will install a backup generator. So that if we're having a dance and somebody turns their amp up to 11, and the next thing you know, the power goes out, immediately the beer coolers will kick on as Wentz Services will fire up a generator that's wired directly to the facility.
Might already be one out there.
Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe, inviting you to get in and get healthy. Erica Briggs owes us a visit to bring us another mindless coffee drink.
I talked to her the other day. I think she basically said she'll just send us talking points.
There you go. She'll come in and see us.
She doesn't want to get up this early.
Yeah,
I mean, she's up. She just doesn't want to get here this early.
absolutely. So what do you folks make of, they say things like a goal is just a dream with a deadline. I like that. Let's move into Schrader Hall. You can go back to when Schrader Hall first became available for sale several years ago. They were receiving like closed bids. You remember this? They were like, buy it, come buy it. Well, the lady that bought it, she didn't understand that kind of stuff, and she had some money and she wanted to buy it and fix it up out of
Well, she
respect
did.
for her late husband. She grossly overpaid for it. There was nobody else even close. It's like, what am I bid? What am I bid? 1,000, 1,500, $27 million. Oh, it's sold to the idiot with too much money. So she buys the place. God bless her for that. Did put some money into it.
Lots of money into it.
And then started wondering, like, what? This just isn't cash flowing. So I get it. And by the way, that very fact scenario may be why we can't afford to move it to Victoria. But I can't help but romanticize the idea of taking that structure and I still think there is a higher and better use involving a city-county partnership out at the old Pioneer facility on 77 that is
owned by Region 3.
that's
They have to
owned
buy
by-
it from them.
owned by Region 3, which just goes to show you, I don't care. I've got lots of friends that work there, lots of friends. And
City should buy Schrader Hall and move it to the community center when they revamp that.
that's what I said. I'll get to Region 3 in a minute because I'm right. What they need to do is when they raise Stroman is you chop up and move. It may take 8 pieces of big puzzle. You pull up the dance floor. You label 1A, 1B, 1C. You label each board on the dance floor. You move the building. You repair the substructure as needed. It's on pier and beam. It would be a challenge, but an absolutely doable proposition. And you move it over to the property where Stroman is now, which guess what? Right across the street, you got tons of free parking at the Gary Moses Community Center. And then you have like a complex with a centerpiece and a reason to go down there. Another great location for it would be on the high ground adjacent to the pump house down in the park. Now, that would necessitate some more parking. That would cost some more money. But
I think a better place near the park would be up on the bluffs
where
as you enter.
Riverside Market Square used to be off
No.
Red River.
Other side, other entry.
Oh,
Right
wouldn't
drive
that be
entry.
something if it was up there where the old Little League
Yep.
fields used to be?
Then it would never flood.
Absolutely. And
Lots of room for parking.
in parts of the year, it'd be waterfront property. But the idea being, and I caught some flashback because there's always those nostalgic romantics. Well, we used to go out there when I was a kid, and then the realists come in. When it all comes in, it's like, well, we used to go out there when we were kids. The reality is the place is actually a little too big to be small, and it's too small to be big. You can't have, I'm making it up, you can't have George Strait come in there. It's just not enough room.
Well, and it's not in a fantastic location, right? Isn't it a little hard to get out there and then get back at
it
night?
really
It's
isn't, but
it's
it's all
not-
perspective.
It's also
Right.
People here drive 2 hours to go to Green Hall
That's true.
to see acts, but they complain they got to drive 20 minutes.
but they don't come
to
home that
Schrader.
night. They don't come home that night from Green Hall after being able to take their own bottle into Green Hall.
You can't
The other
anymore.
option is we need a hotel out there.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make it.
That's not going to make it either. I mean, you hotels need to be about 80% occupied every night, so it's not going to happen.
And Green Hall, they now take card. It's not all cash.
And they're part of other things out there.
There's a
restaurants
ton
and
at Green
shops.
Hall. Green Hall
Right.
is an entire district of interest,
Right.
which, by the way, Schrader Hall it's the second oldest dance hall in Texas. It could anchor such a thing here in town. It would have a much greater chance to succeed if its proximity to Main Street, Victoria was closer. There would be more things. For example, if you put it on the north side of town where, thank you, Eagleford Shale, we now have a plethora of hotels. You might actually get some heads in beds if you put a decent act in there. There are things that you can do, but my thought about Region 3 has been, and the pushback I got was that Region 3 has really grown. How many of you knew that Region 3 employs 300 people? 300 people. You know why? Because there's just things that the TEA requires school districts to participate in and be a part of, and the TEA demands that people like Region 3 take a whole bunch of money. And, well, you don't pay Region 3. The school district pays Region 3. Follow the money, people. Your tax dollars at rest. My mother worked for Region 3 for a number of years, enjoyed her time there. Her job was to go around and teach Stephen Covey training to superintendents, the 7 habits of highly successful people. I think now, looking back, we really needed somebody just to go around and teach discipline for our schools, to teach solid curriculum pursuits to our superintendents. The region is a racket. It may be a good thing, but it's if you don't think it's a cash cow, they bought the Pioneer property.
Yeah.
Now, I would move Schrader Hall out there in a heartbeat to take advantage on the weekends when those 300 good folks aren't at Region 3. I would use all that concrete for free parking. I would build a multi-sports complex out there for VISD and maybe even A&M Victoria, where I have, all that free parking that's already paid for. You got to have some kind of vision. And yes, it was pointed out the lady actually spent $275,000 on it. Probably could have bought it for $100,000. She spent $275,000 on it, and by the square foot, it's quite a bargain. But without location, it speaks for itself.
Well, people are claiming mismanagement. I don't think there was mismanagement. They were reactionary to people's demands, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
They tried things to get people there, like opening the kitchen for lunch and opening a kitchen for dinners.
Who's going to drive to Schrader to go to lunch? Nobody.
But it was a suggestion that people had. Well, if you just had food, people might come out there. So they tried it because they poured money into the kitchen.
Sure.
Didn't work.
They
tried to bring local bands in on weekends because somebody said, well, if you just brought local bands in like we had when we were kids, the problem is those 60 and 70-year-olds that used to go there when they were 20, they're not going there now that they're 60 and 70.
And kids in general don't go to dances like kids did back in the day.
And then when they tried to bring in the Kevin Fowlers.
It's out in the middle of nowhere. And the problem is, Ash, you can't – it is a DWI trap. There's only one way in and one way out, and nobody feels comfortable with that.
Same at Green Hall. There's one road in there and one road out.
Of course, there's places to stay, and
yeah, but not till you get further down the road. I mean, realistically, you can
right
walk
in the middle
of them.
Right in the middle of New Braunfels.
Yeah, but
it's a totally different vibe, right? Because in New Braunfels, you can catch an Uber, you can do whatever you want to get there. Yeah. Jennifer Rabin, you're right. The same people that go to Rusty Joe's in the barn.
Yeah, but that's not enough to keep something like a Schrader Hall going.
No, I agree. You need one thing about Green Hall. You walk in there any afternoon, there's some local musician sitting there playing music. If you had the opportunity, if you had a place, young Pat Green is not going to go sit in Schrader at noon on a Thursday and play his guitar, but he might in Victoria if the bar was open and the beer was iced down in an aluminum, in a stainless or galvanized trough.
And when they tried to bring in the bigger acts, people didn't want to pay the money that it now costs to go see those bigger acts because, they cost more than they used to when you could go there for $10. And then they got rid of, they brought in, because of insurance issues, they were a full service bar. They couldn't carry the note on insurance for people to bring their own booze in.
Yeah,
every weekend. So there were a lot of things there that just,
I've been seeing a lot lately of the Obamas patting themselves on the back about the great service they did by building, I think, the ugliest building in Chicago.
Oh, you mean the prison?
No, the Obama
library
is just a pathetic.
Yeah, it looks like a prison.
It looks like some Soviet era,
right?
Moscow building, but
they built it to be defensive because the area that it's in is fraught with drive-bys and random shootings and things.
Yeah, they didn't want windows being blown out.
But now it says here that Obama Center contractors say that millions are owed to them, that they haven't gotten the money that they should have gotten from. Yeah, it came from Newsmax. Yeah, I wanted to bring up too, by the way, we have really enjoyed and benefited just personally from our relationship with the great folks at Ramirez Transmission. And I just want to make you aware, mark your date. It's June the 28th is the date. They are very, very selfless and giving and really super fine, just family Christian folks. And they touched Ash and me several years ago. Their commitment to our local first responders, certainly all the LEOs and first responders that are listening this morning know Al and BB and the folks at Ramirez Transmission, and it kind of looks like Barack. But anyway, the folks have a barbecue benefit for a friend of theirs, a family member, Miss Thelma Gamez. Ms. Gamez passed away unexpectedly, and her family is having a barbecue benefit to defray funeral expenses. This is on June the 28th. And Ramirez is at 2701 South Laurent. Now, I will mention this to you between now and then again, but
Next Saturday.
yes, plates are $15. They are raising money, but it includes ribs, chicken, sausage, rice, beans, and then they add and all the trimmings, which I imagine
three
means
meat plate for $15.
That's what I was just in there thinking.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
onions, pickles, jalapenos, tortillas. It'll all be
Special.
there, and it's all of it
Special
homemade,
sauce on a sesame seed bun.
wonderful stuff. Torrin Bales points out Green Hall has shops and
Yeah.
restaurants, but see, which came first? The obvious answer is Green Hall came first, and then shops and restaurants surrounded it. You've got to remember,
As did people moving into that entire corridor,
No
and
doubt.
Victoria has remained stagnant
that's
for
right.
30 years.
And which came first, right? The development, I guess the demand probably came when people moved in. But if you could take that facility and maintain its historic integrity and move it to the property that currently is Stroman High School, middle school, the mold school, you're about to have, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. A $30 million facelift and add-on at the Gary Moses Victoria Community Center. In fact, if you think about it, Ash, that huge open field, which is never full by like the carnival, you could still use further back, behind the community center. There's even more land. It was never intended to be the final community center. It was always designed to be able to expand. Torrin Bell says, put gambling there, and I promise it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine Schrader Hall Keno parlor? But you could rebuild, move, and set up a renovated and structurally very sound Schrader Hall to the property at the corner of Ben Wilson and North Streets. You could put it right there. Yeah, it would be awesome right there. It might even draw so many patrons that they would fix North Street in front of Patty Welder Middle School.
And Ben Wilson going down that far.
That
It's
is
a bit of a
just,
mess
both
there.
of those streets are simply, Ben Wilson is a pothole dodge, and North Street is one big speed bump. That's all it is. If I've gone down it in the Raptor, that's no problem. I've gone down it in Dawn's car and felt like my teeth were coming out.
Yeah.
And I agree, Timmy Williams.
It wouldn't work on that side of town.
Schrader wouldn't.
No.
It needs to be on the north side.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, Joe Biden would say, why? Little poor kids like to dance just as much as white kids.
That's why the community center is booked every weekend.
Right. They should move it to the north side.
Rodeo Houston should buy it, move it onto the fairgrounds at Energy
See,
Stadium,
that's what everybody's missing.
and put it up there.
That's what everybody's missing. Nobody seems to want to grasp the fact that the two options are not leave it where it is and let somebody else go lose money on it, or move it to Victoria and give it a chance. What people are missing is some forward-thinking guy. It's not going to be Austin, Texas, okay? It's going to be Round Rock or Pflugerville or Hutto. They're going to grab that place, and the moving of the facility is going to drive the demand to see it. The fact that it gets chopped up into 10 pieces and transported, It is a nothing burger.
Remember when our train went to Grapevine? It's still there.
It's a nothing burger to move that building. It's done all the time. It's on a pier and beam. They will literally take all of the electronics out of it, put those in a cargo box to take to wherever they're going. They'll dice that thing up into manageable pieces, remembering that when they get there, they will simply put the rafters back on and it will get a new roof. That's all that'll happen. A new roof, talking about $50,000, $75,000. And they will literally put it back together and shim it up on pier and beam until it's perfectly level. And you'll never know it was cut in half.
Nope.
You'll never know that it was cut into eighths. But when they take it and move it to Hutto,
Then everybody here will cry that it's no longer here.
that was ours. It's because somebody's going to go, come see the dance hall that moved halfway across Texas. That's right, folks. Texas' second oldest dance hall, second only to Green. If you can't make it to New Braunfels where they have no water, come to Hutto. Go to our breweries. Go to our art festivals.
Where they made a mistake was when they tried to make it into a wedding venue, capitalizing on the wedding craze,
Yeah, that
and
was
stopped
dumb.
concerts. They should have just quietly said, now booking weddings. And if somebody wanted to still come and play there, they could.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a wedding, or if somebody wanted a wedding there and there was no act playing, they could book it. Nobody was going to know the difference. But when you publicly announced you were no longer going to do this, and you were switching to this, and then you realized you couldn't have enough weddings there to make a go of it,
No chance.
because nothing that you did had enough activity to make a go of it.
And let me
They
tell you
needed to
why
find
that's
a way
true.
to blend that.
You and I talked about this way back when. I've been over
'Cause
to
the community isn't growing.
Dripping Springs, and there are literally dozens of wedding venues. You know what else is over there? Dozens of hotels within 5 miles of the venue.
Yeah, but why? Because there's lots of people in that
That's
region. We have been a community that has not grown exponentially as the rest of the state has for 30 years.
Yeah.
And a business like Schrader Hall cannot survive in a community that's stagnant.
Solid point.
When consumer tastes have changed.
If Spetzel Brewery in Shiner was paying attention, they should buy it.
No
they already
doubt.
have food trucks.
Can you
They
imagine?
now have a whiskey tasting area.
Can you imagine
gosh,
if you
it's
could
a
go to
no-brainer.
Shiner, tour the brewery, and go next door and see Roger Krager?
Yep.
It's just the marketing opportunities are endless.
Yeah. It would be brilliant for them to buy it. But
Wait a minute. Jonathan Williams comes in with a solid point. Maybe Maximus could buy Schrader. Now on the main stage, put your hands together for Fantasia. Torrin Bale says, simply move Schrader Hall inside of Buc-ee's. There's plenty of people and plenty of parking. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
Great idea.
Yeah. How about this? Lilo Arguelles coming in from the mothership at Magic 95.9. He's not only a boss, he listens. Lilo says Wade and Carter Country Western Dance Hall, Tejano Dance Hall. Use airport property for a new location.
boom.
There you go. Now you can fly in and attend a dance.
And the hotels are just up the loop.
That's absolutely right. That's beautiful. Not to mention, I'll tell you this, if you moved that dance hall to Victoria, you would create a plausible demand for Lyft and Uber.
That's right.
Why not just take the shuttle out there?
Then you can either get on an airplane or go home.
There you go. Put it on the parking lot at the Victoria Mall. There's nobody there.
Right.
Put it where Region 3 is. Region 3 told me yesterday, a representative of a friend of mine who works there. Okay, I'll be honest.
So it wasn't an official
It wasn't
statement.
an official statement. But said, hey, there are times that we're too big even for the Pioneer property, and we have to go rent the Emerging Technology Center. I would submit to you that on those extremely rare occasions, it would be infinitely cheaper for Region 3 to rent the Emerging Technology Center than it is to own and pay for the Pioneer property. 90% of the time, they need offices. And 90% of that, their people are on the road in vehicles doing things. So you don't build a church, Parkway Church. We did, 6,000 people on Easter Sunday. Well, that's why you have 2, maybe 3 services on Easter Sunday to accommodate the crowd. You don't build a 9,000 seat auditorium because twice a year, Christmas and Easter, people decide to be churchgoers.
No, but apparently they're utilizing the property that they have and the facilities they have, are they not?
Who? Region 3? Well, they're not using the bus barns, and they're not using all the.
Well, they're not using that, but I think they have plans for that, don't they?
Of course, they've got huge plans to use your money to do that. It's not your money. We get it from the school district. TEA puts money in their pockets, hand over fist, at your expense. It's a fact. It's the way it works. Yeah, Tammy Williams says that J. Welch Farms should buy it. They certainly have figured it out about entertaining. They are almost one click too far out of town for me. Mm-hmm. Almost. Now, I go when we have a group. When there's a group of folks going, Dawn and I try to go. But I don't ever just go, hey, Dawn, you want to just run out to J. Welch? Never. It's just too far. And I am also the guy who doesn't ever say, hey, let's just drive to Sugar Land for dinner either. So it's not like, And there's a trade-off, right? Like if I wanted to drive to Houston and go to B&B Butcher and have a ridiculously great steak, provided I didn't want to take the time to cook it myself or I didn't want to go to Greeks 205 and eat it, that's a whole different deal because that's an experience. But I think that making Schrader Hall an integral part of an entertainment district, there really is no place to put it in downtown Victoria.
No.
And by the way, that's not the right place for it. It needs to be
in the country.
In the country. I agree. And I know it can work because I've been to the wonderful little venue at Sweet Home, and it is small. It's a much different deal. So you still buy beer for $2 a beer.
Yeah, but when do they have dances? Sunday afternoons.
Every Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Let's take one more break. Folks, we'll get to the First State Bank of Louise in a second. Chestic Furniture inviting you to come in and look at a new recliner, a new love seat, a new sofa, a complete living room. They have the rugs that go on the floor, the occasional tables, lamps, all of the
accoutrement
that you need to be a good Frenchman. Get in there. Chestic Furniture, Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours. Go see Bobby. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Palace Bingo is, Palace Bingo is postponed. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I tell you,
just didn't line up.
Yeah,
for tonight.
There you go.
You all can go if you want.
You can. In fact, that's a beautiful thing. You can go. You can play and have a blast.
Yeah, you don't need us there.
It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place. Going out there and
maybe we should get a Wade and Carter director for our Palace Bingo night, so that y'all don't always have to be there.
Yeah, but we enjoy being there. Right. It's a great time to see our public.
But on months you can't make it if you had somebody running it for you.
But given what we pay you, the fact that you just volunteered to be that director is awesome. And it makes us feel better about the value that we deploy upon you. So I liked it. Congratulations. You have been promoted. You have been promoted.
Careful what you ask for.
There you go.
My astronaut for car of the week, 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL convenience package.
Cute little car.
25,000 miles, selling for $21,999 on the internet price.
That just under 22 grand, you can buy it cheaper. Go by and see them. Tell them Wade and Carter sent you. It's a silverish color they call fluid metal. Probably the color of mercury. Runs on gasoline.
Yeah, it's 4-cylinder engine, great gas mileage.
Yeah.
Let me pull
25,000 miles anymore. As long as you change the oil in a vehicle, miles don't hurt a car.
Absolutely not.
Torin Bell says Schrader Hall in Round Top. I mean, that would be genius, right, Torin? Genius. What
There it
we're
is.
kind of discovering is it's genius to have it anywhere but Victoria.
There, it
Yeah.
is. There's the card.
There you go.
Go buy
Jennifer
it today.
Rayburn says you could be like the Julie McCoy of Wade and Carter. Watch this. Cody, you have any idea who Julie McCoy is?
Nope.
Too young.
Yep.
He's too young to remember the Love Boat
What's the Love Boat? No, I'm kidding. I know what
Nice.
the Love Boat is.
with Isaac and Gopher,
Surprised they haven't rebooted that into a movie
Captain Steubing.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think it's a kids show. I think there's a spin-off of it,
Yeah.
but it's not really the same.
John Anderson with a solid question. Did ZZ Top ever perform at Schrader Hall? I agree. And I remember when they were on the little billboard out in front of Sun Valley. Isn't that something?
Yep.
ZZ Top playing in Victoria, Texas. Yeah. Would be awesome. First day, Baker Louise. Astros update. Astros win. Astros win. Astros win.
4-2.
Yes. The new kid, Lambert. I don't remember his first name.
Google claims they played there in 2019.
There you go.
That feels that they were a little big at that point, but
No, they were pretty big. I don't know if ZZ Top played there in 2019 or not. How about if they did? Do
They
any of
might
you
have.
remember being there? Did y'all go? I saw Johnny Rodriguez and who sings a song about "There Stands the Glass"?
That one I don't know.
I don't know. But I've seen
Not ringing a
Charlie Pride
Webb
there.
Pierce.
Webb Pierce. No, but I'm thinking about what was the old guy's name that used to come to Bluebonnet?
Webb Pierce.
No,
He's
no,
old.
he passed away recently. Old Johnny Bush.
Oh, Johnny Bush.
used to play at Schrader Hall, and there's something very distinctive. You realize you're a part of history when you're in an old time Texas dance hall and one of those old time players who you can just picture back in the 60s with a guitar thrown in the back of a old, Chevy driving around from venue to venue. It's a very romantic experience.
Peter
to be
Lambert.
there.
was the
Peter
pitcher.
Lambert. He's now 6-4
Just gave up a couple of hits yesterday. That was it.
over 7 innings. He's been very, very solid for the Astros. Astros win 4-2. Jeremy Pena had a home run and an
Struck out
RBI single.
5, no walks. So that's good.
Yeah. 5, no walks. That shows great command, and 2 hits over 7 innings is really good. And Pena had a
And
home
the
run
Astros just 3.5 back now of the division leading Seattle Mariners.
and a single. Altuve caught on video walking out and giving a hug to a workout gear attired Justin Verlander. Made me feel good. They were out. Verlander was out at the mound in gray shorts and a gray Tigers shirt.
They gonna sign him for the remainder of the season?
Oh, I think he's been bad, hasn't he?
Is he still pitching? He's still with the Giants? I don't even know.
No, he's with the Tigers.
Oh, that's right. He did sign with the
And I don't
Tigers.
know
I
what he's
forgot about
done.
that. Yeah, that just tells you what he's. Did he pitch yesterday?
No. No, he's 114 years old. But he'll go into the Hall of Fame first ballot as a
Absolutely.
Detroit Tiger, and he should. Worth noting that he was integral to that great Astros run, and he won a Cy Young here, right? And he won a World Series here, and he had a bunch of strikeouts in one season here. He was a joy to watch. Justin Verlander. It ties right back into his protege and a guy that emulates him and looks a lot like him on the mound. Hunter Brown is now back with the big club. I like the Astros right now.
Yeah, I think they're poised. If they can get healthy, I think they could put a string together to win the AL West, because it's really the Mariners are 38-37 and lead the division.
Correct, Amundo.
It is not going to be a 20 game over 500 team that has to win, is needed to win the AL West. So, Astros off tonight. They begin a weekend set with Cleveland tomorrow at home.
Let's see. What do we got here?
Average gas prices falling to just below $4 a gallon for the first time since hostilities began with Iran.
Yeah.
So
I still
AAA
don't know. Do you folks remember just less than a month ago when it was just given to us as a fact that if we reopen the strait today, it won't be mine free for at least 6 months? Are we heading towards a time when a tanker or cargo ship, I just don't picture the Iranians as having an exact GPS location for every mine, right? Drop
Yeah.
one. That's what I think happens over there.
That's usually what happens when you drop mines. I don't know that you put them in any.
So how do you just start taking the tankers back through the strait? I would be.
I don't think it
concerned.
matters, to be honest. I think it's all feelings and
Mhm.
and frivolity when it comes to gas prices and the price of oil. It's just it fluctuates based on feelings and sentiment. It is not really based on the market.
I think that's fair.
Mhm.
That makes sense to me.
Prices should not have rose the way they did if we're talking 20% of oil in the world, right?
Yeah.
They should have rose 20%. They rose astronomically more than 20%.
Yeah. I think that's big oil taking profits. I think that's,
And
Here's
now
an
what's
here's an
oil?
opportunity.
What's oil at? Like $75 a barrel yesterday?
which is a sustainable and a solid price. I mean, at $75 a barrel, gas can be
Yeah.
down around $3 a gallon. Companies still make money.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Sharif says that the memo
Omar?
of understanding
Omar
Shabazz.
Shabazz.
Has been signed electronically by the U.S. and Iran. And so as a result, that basically reopen the strait and lift the naval blockade.
Yeah.
Still, the highest prices are on the West Coast.
Well, but that price includes state taxes, and that the state taxes in California are well over $1 a gallon. So while it's $3.49 in Texas, it's $5.64 in California. They can't explain that.
So all the states that lifted their state taxes, prices went up. Are they now have they rescinded that?
I don't know.
Rescission of state tax? I don't know.
President Trump put a pause on the federal infrastructure-based tax.
Didn't affect prices at all. They never came down 18 cents or whatever that is, or 31 cents. They stayed where they were.
I never understood the whole 0.9 of a penny thing. You
For
know,
pricing gas.
gas
Because
is
it's
$3.59.
psychological pricing.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Aren't we past that? Now that we don't even have pennies, do we still need 0.9?
People drive around to save 2 cents a gallon.
Yeah, those people
You
are
spend more
called
money.
idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blaine Holt says, Stephanie Connie says, Blaine Holt is sure not happy with all the people talking down on Trump about Iran without waiting to see the final deal. I need to see the final deal.
Well, we'll look up.
And I told Ash this morning,
We'll look at it tomorrow.
I've reserved judgment because many more times than not, the Donald has been proven to be correct. He comes in with these broad speaking, panaceic comments, be the greatest ever. And it's not necessarily the greatest ever, but it ends up being a lot better than what you thought it was going to be. And if he would just get out of his own way and not be his own worst enemy,
Live up to the election promises that you made.
yeah. He has lived up to many, but not some of the key ones. The Department of Education is still there. By the way, it's being held up by liberal judges. There are people saying you can't do what you want to do.
Epstein files still haven't been released.
Right. Which, by the way, the sex trafficking going on in the UK makes the Epstein files look like a kiddie daycare.
Absolutely. And nobody
And
here
nobody's
seems to
reporting
care.
about it. You know why? Because it involves the Pakistanis. It involves a historically disenfranchised group that could be known as Muslims. So as a result, the mainstream media is not talking about the atrocity. If you can just get on a rich Jew like Jeffrey Epstein, That's okay. Pile on, everybody. The Jew did it. But if it's a Pakistani systemic planned abuse of white English girls,
Tens of thousands who had charges dropped and others released from prison when they were arrested
nobody
on
cares.
charges. Police involved in covering it up in the UK.
The fake outrage and the hypocrisy of the left are consistently and always their biggest tell.
Yep.
We are aware the MOU is out there. We have not reviewed it and are choosing not to comment until tomorrow. Have a great day. You know who you are. Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.